Hey there, YouTube fans. How you going, man? I won't torture you with a starting song, okay, today. Hey, I wanted to talk about my symptoms with fibromyalgia. Now, I have done something similar to this before, but I just want to have it in one video very clearly in one place, okay? Now, you did see in a few videos back when I tried to start work in a new job, I had two massive crashes, and I'll go through some of those side effects that I had. I know that the stress of trying to start a job, even if it was online on a computer or on a Zoom meeting or just speaking with a client, really set all of my symptoms off, and I'm going through a kind of relapse at the moment after being in hospital about 5-6 weeks ago now. All right, so current symptoms: fatigue, every single day, tired when I go to bed, tired when I wake up, tired all day, low stamina, low energy, short of breath, like I couldn't even stand up in church today to sing. I had to sit down to sing, and then when I was singing, I was out of breath. Just to sing, I was out of breath. So dry eyes, dry mouth, blurred vision, especially at a distance, interrupted sleep, hard to get to sleep. Now, some of these might be repeated, by the way, because that's the cognitive problems that I have. So forgive me if I repeat myself, and there may be a few in here. When I walk, my blood pressure and heart rate goes through the roof. Is that orthostatic intolerance? It could be. Muscle weakness, especially in my legs, even despite on a good day, I could leg press 380 kilograms with those two legs, but I can't stand up and walk around sometimes. My leg actually wants to buckle sometimes. How weird is that? I have allergies to sulfites and allergies to pine nuts, so food allergies. My heart races after eating or standing or walking, like I said before. I randomly drop something that's in my hand. Just, it's really strange. Blue light seems to make me feel unwell. I've got a battery-powered fluoro blue light. Not fluoro, but yeah, it is kind of fluoro. And just to see it, and it was outside, makes me really ill at ease. And I noticed lately that inside with the fluoro lights, I have to turn them off. They make me feel ill at ease. That's not unusual in fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome. I sweat profusely, like if I'm a little bit overheated. And then conversely, if it's like 26 degrees in my house, I have to turn it up to, that's Celsius, by the way. I have to turn it up to 27, 28, and then back down. So there's a very narrow range where I feel comfortable. Alcohol can make me feel a lot worse with the fatigue, and sometimes I actually have to go to bed. It makes me sleepy. About like 2 glasses of wine or some alcohol. Mobile phone on your ear or Bluetooth headsets or wireless headsets or electronics gives me a headache. I finally understood what's going on with that. I've had that problem for a long time. It's because this fibromyalgia is a neurological problem. So it is from the brain. So this stuff can interfere with your brain. You know, that's why you're getting that headache. Sleep does not refresh me or recharge me. I think I said that before. No endurance, lethargy, low motivation, because I know how much effort everything is going to take. You know, try and teach online, it's going to take effort. Or, you know, I might have to run to the toilet or something, which I'll get to later on. There's always this fear about doing something, taking on something, putting it off because of the fatigue. And that's part of that low motivation. Exercise usually makes symptoms worse and may take days, months to recover. However, I'm stiff in the morning and my whole body aches and my back aches and my neck aches, and it's like lactic acid all over me and feel like you had the flu or whatever. But to get up and move around does take some of that pain away. Brain fog, concentration problems, short-term memory problems, lack of focus, distracted, lack of comprehension, like can't understand complicated things. I can't even read a book because I can't understand it. Find it hard to find words sometimes. Can't get the words out, especially when you speak 4 languages. Doesn't make that job easy. Okay, so we talked about that. Night sweats, I may not mentioned. I know the other day when I had that crash, again, there was a night sweat. All my pillow was wet. My hair was wet. There's also some kind of obsessive compulsive disorder thing going on. I buy multiple versions of the same product. So this is the second Boya BYM1 microphone that I'm using. And I just keep on buying microphones because I don't know, something's wrong with me, a perfectionist. I got microphones to the hilt. But these are really, really good, by the way. So I'm going to try and continue to use that, even though there's other microphones. I can look at right in front of me, there's actually 2 microphones there and a whole bunch of them in that bag. So OCD kind of thing. I had the same thing with CB radios and with fishing rods and headphones. Yeah, just something about that. I don't know if that's related. I think I mentioned insomnia. Very hard to get to sleep sometimes. And I wake up, every couple of hours or whatever. Muscle and joint pain. Like I said, from my toes to my head, the whole body is stiff and sore. Feel rigid. Sometimes I'm having uncoordinated walking, like my body does not respond properly to the commands. That's really strange. It's like I'm afraid I got multiple sclerosis or something, the way that works. But that's not it. It's fibromyalgia. I did have swollen glands under the left armpit, but they tell me that that's not there anymore. I have had in the past. I've had throat problems, itchy throat, reflux, digestive problems, nausea, heartburn, indigestion, flu-like symptoms, we said, allergies, sinusitis. Sinusitis in me is basically chronic sinusitis, and I noticed that sulfites make that worse. I am allergic to some medicines, and some medicines have a paradoxical reaction. So, for example, if by the way, I'm constantly hungry. That's not on here, but this will remind me about these medicines. So I've taken Ozempic for weight loss and things like that. And what happens is I have a paradoxical reaction. So if you're supposed to be less hungry on Ozempic, I'm more hungry. If a tablet helps you with diabetes, like metformin, well, I have headaches horrendously on metformin and can't take it, even through the skin. Which reminds me, I've had my hands feel like they have a rash every now and then, and I'm allergic, and any kind of rubbing on my skin causes pain there. That is fibromyalgia, apparently. And I have mottled dots on my hand when there's hot or cold, like when the temperature changes. I can see mottled reactions in my fingers. I feel dizzy sometimes. So I have to hold on to the fridge if I get up to have a drink of water, for example. So I'm really fatigued now, but I want to get through this. I feel weak. I feel like I have one foot in the grave. I feel like a vampire has drained me of all my blood. I like what an endocrinologist said to me once. He said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because, you become immortal when a vampire bites you and you have lots of energy and you're immortal, right? I said, no, I feel like they've drained me of all my blood and I feel really fatigued, like one foot in the grave. Shortness of breath, like now. Depression, anxiety, irritability, intolerances of loud noises, crowds, dogs barking, people drilling on the flaming walls. That just sends me out of my mind. You can't imagine the hammer drill on the wall, and they do this for the last 7 years that I've been in this place because people are renovating. And when they do it, I lose my mind that I got to get out of my house. I have tinnitus, which is ringing of the ears. I have psoriasis on my legs mainly, nausea, bloating. I've put here for the doctors that sometimes some clue to the cause of this or treatment is I took prednisone for sinusitis and I felt cured. I felt fantastic and a lot of energy came back. That's why low-dose naltrexone does a very similar thing to a steroid. It gives you your own endorphins back, and that's why it seems to work on me. But my doctors have said, well, everybody feels great on steroids, so they kind of dismissed that. It took me years to write this document. Because of the motivation and cognitive problems. I've had hot flushes, so you feel hot all over. I've had cold flushes, temperature dysregulation, even in the absence of having an actual temperature. I don't seem to have a temperature, but I feel like I have. This is a big one for me and worries me. I've had heart palpitations. I've had tachycardia, which is the heart racing. Just from sitting down, just from eating, just from standing up, my heart goes crazy all over the place. And I may have to see a cardiologist about that, the rheumatologist said. I've had high blood pressure, although it's around 140/90. I've had high blood sugars, especially in the morning, even though I'm allegedly in diabetic remission. And then I've had low blood sugars from not eating on time, perhaps, because I've had gastric sleeve surgery. Okay, sometimes I don't even have the energy to have a shower, especially at night. I just go into bed. My jaw, I've had problems with this in the corners and this whole feeling of sore jaw and pain behind the eyes I had yesterday, and I had the pain in the neck really bad. These are all signs of fibromyalgia, and this thing with the jaw, it's called temporomandibular syndrome. Temporomandibular syndrome, something like that. Textbook fibromyalgia. We talked about electronics giving me a headache. I feel worse in the mornings, and then by some miracle at 7 p.m. sometimes, I feel better. They say it can be related to cortisol release. I've actually lost weight, and it didn't help. I feel exactly the same as I did physically when I was 172 kilos. Now today I was 143.5. I had put on some weight. I mentioned here back pain, especially in the morning. I have to, let me have a little breather. I have to constantly conserve energy and pace myself. For example, I collect the clothes washing off the line, put them in the basket, and then the basket stays on the floor for several days until I have new energy to take those clothes and fold them up and put them away. It's the same thing with the dishes. The dishes sit on my kitchen stove or whatever for days sometimes until I find a break in the weather, I call it, when you got a little bit more energy than usual, or you're standing up, and then I do them. I can't cook sometimes. Being so fatigued, so I order takeaway, which I hate doing. I have to always constantly bargain with myself because of the mental and physical fatigue. So, for example, Sal, if you take this rubbish out, you can have a glass of Diet Pepsi. Like, I do these deals with myself to try and motivate me because the motivation is not there because of the fatigue. I often say no to socializing with family and friends due to mental and physical fatigue. I went out last night and I felt rotten, but my poor family, they invite me out, and I feel sorry for them because they say, is my brother still alive? Because very often I have to say, no, I'm sorry, I don't feel up to it, or cut it short, or whatever, and it's really sad for them, and I'm not sure if they understand or not, but I'm trying to do this video so that they will understand, and hopefully one of my sisters or all of them are watching. And if you are, say a comment, especially you, Serena, because I know you watch. No, it's not just in my head. Luckily, I knew that all along, but some doctors will dismiss you, and I had that happen many times. But the last, what are they called? A registrar for the rheumatologist. She said, "I know it's not in your head. It's not your fault," and that was really, really good to hear. Really, really good to hear. It was. She had empathy when I showed her a video of me crashing after trying to work. She had empathy, which is great. I know what feeling good used to feel like. I'm highly educated. Please don't dismiss me, I've said here. I had comorbid problems. This is actually, some of these are related to fibromyalgia. It's very common. I have sleep apnea. I'm on CPAP therapy. I've been a diabetic type 2. I'm a cancer survivor. I was treated with chemo, including cisplatin and doxorubicin and steroids. The left shoulder and humerus is titanium, chromium, and cobalt prosthetic. That's all titanium, replacing the bone. I could be reacting to the metals or bone cement because I do have symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome. That was the other thing that is highly likely that I have as well. As I rub my sore neck, irritable bowel syndrome, that's comorbid with fibromyalgia. Obesity, that can be comorbid with fibromyalgia. Hypertension, which is high blood pressure. I did have problems with testosterone after cancer treatment, but that has rectified itself. Fatty liver, I did have. That should be better due to the weight loss, and chronic diverticular disease or diverticulitis. They've done a lot of tests in me. They've done cortisol tests. They've done thyroid many times, sleep apnea. I've got that. Diabetes, I had that. My iron levels were terrible for a long period of time. They're corrected. The vitamin D was terrible for a long time. That's corrected. I took injections. Very good idea was for me. Make sure you ask your own doctor about anything. This is just my symptoms. Your situation is going to be different, okay? Multiple celiac, like gluten insensitivity, that always came up negative. My full blood count has not been unusual, except for fatty liver in the past and high C-reactive protein. What helps me? Caffeine seems to help. It certainly wakes me up, gives me some more energy, helps with the brain fog. But I can't have too much of it or else I'll get a headache. Steroids, we said in the past, like prednisone, but you can put on weight and they're dangerous. Eating salt or salty meals like pizza helps, believe it or not. Now, according to Dr. Nancy, what's her last name? I can't recall, but she said people with chronic fatigue syndrome they're missing about a litre of blood, so they're hypovolemic. This is why you can have problems with your blood pressure and POTS, which is something, orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. What's the P stand for? Don't recall. Is it positive? Postural? I think it's postural. Anyway, so that's when you stand up, your heart goes crazy like mine does, generally after 10 minutes. But so what my point is, we can be hypovolemic, missing about a litre of blood permanently. So you have to keep your fluids up and your salt up. What makes it worse? Stress. Stress, of course. Exercise, gym, mental or physical exertion, pushing myself, all that can make it worse. Lack of sleep, poor sleep, that absolutely makes it worse. And some medicines like antibiotics, which was, what was that antibiotic I took the other day? Flagyl, metronidazole, however you pronounce that, that has made it worse. I had IV antibiotics in hospital and then in the home. So that is my symptoms. I've had this twitching of my finger lately. That's weird. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but isn't that enough? So a lot of symptoms there. And I'm puffed. And yes, James, I am on my one of my subscribers, James. I am on 1.5 milligrams of low-dose naltrexone. I'm just trying that. The headache is better so far, touch wood, but it's still in there in the background. All right, guys. Hope you can relate to that. And I better go. This is a 22-minute video, but it was worth it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Give to the poor children at the Ukrainian children, Slava Ukraini. You can give at www.savethechildren.org.au, Save the Children website. I'll try and put the link in the description. God bless, guys. Teach yourself out.